Hi, it's David C. Jones. Before the curtain goes up, and I'm so excited. I have been trying to get Broadway Across Canada to do one of these preview interviews, and success at last I have here. So, Rob Rodia from Aladdin, you'll be coming to Vancouver in a month. How
In a
are
month.
you?
I'm very well here in Spokane, Washington.
Oh, wonderful. So, I guess you're Broadway Across America at that point.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So then the name of the poster changes as you travel across the border.
Exactly. We'll
That's why
be
you're
in Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver. We'll be in Toronto for a long time next year for like a 5 week sit down. That I'm very
wow.
excited about that. I love Toronto, love Vancouver. I wish I could be there for 5 weeks.
Yeah, we're small. We're small, and we're an outdoorsy people. We don't go to theater as much, so that's why they have to do short runs in Vancouver because you can go. That's as long as you can get them into a building.
Whereas when you have what you have around you, why wouldn't you be outdoorsy?
Exactly,
Oh,
exactly. Now let's talk about Broadway across North America. So you have to audition to get into a production,
yes. Like
and
most productions, we get, we our agents submit us and they say we want to see, Mr. X, Miss Y, Miss P, and then we all go in and for Disney and for many big musicals, there's a many rounds. And if you're one of the leads, like if you're Aladdin, Jasmine, or Genie, they actually hold boot camps where you're invited for a week to, and many shows do that. Moulin Rouge does that. Hamilton does that, where you go in and you workshop with a whole bunch of other people, and you work on the scripts, you work on the songs, and they see how you actually, not just in a 2 minute or a 5 minute or a 10 minute audition. So I
wow.
did not. I had it was over 6 weeks, many Zoom auditions first during the pandemic, and then my final one in New York, where I had to go to New York for the audition.
Now, one of the things I noticed about you before we started the interview was I said you don't look round like the Sultan in the cartoon, and you
Sure.
explain.
Well, our wonderful director, Casey Nicholaw, who just won a Tony for another show for Some Like It Hot, uh, wanted the Sultan to be a real person and not this cartoony, oh, with rounding, what's going on? He didn't want that. He didn't,
Although
he
you do
wanted
that very well.
someone, yeah, well, and sometimes I like to be a little bumbling on stage or get confused. He goes, no, let's cut that out. Let's be a ruler. You're a ruler, for heaven's sake.
Ah.
So he wants me to be the ruler, and I've played many a sultan, and it's a role that becomes me well.
Nice.
Would I could give orders in real life?
Now, yeah, these tours go on for quite some time. So, what is the typical length of time that, like for you, that you stay with a show? Um, or when
Good
do,
question.
yeah,
Yeah,
like,
we are on two different contracts. The crew and the ensemble are on open-ended contracts. So they are on as long as the tour goes on, they can go on if they choose to. They can renegotiate terms, etc., whatever. But they are open-ended and they can give a 4 week out or whatever out, and then they're out. The principals were contracted for a year of performances, so 2 months of rehearsal and then 12 months of performances. So my contract is up on October 15th, but then if they want me for longer and if the terms are agreeable and I can stay or I don't have something else on the down the pipe, then I would stay on. It depends on those factors. So it's normally booked for a big chunk of time. And some people stay on tours. There are people on the Lion King tour for years and years. Some people change, they go older, they change from a young role to an older role as the show goes on, or they go to Broadway and do the show there, and then they come back on the road. Some people, like I myself included, I love touring. I love seeing new places and old places. I haven't been in Vancouver City since 1990, I think 1990 December. So
what
it's
were
been
you
a
doing?
long time.
What were you
I
doing
was
then?
there visiting a friend
Oh,
of, I was in school at Johns Hopkins, the Peabody Conservatory of the Johns Hopkins University, and my winter break I spent in Vancouver because I had some lovely dear friends there who are still there.
Nice. Oh, you'll get to visit with them again. How exciting.
Exactly, exactly.
Nice, nice. Now, the like I'm an actor myself, and I like doing a long run. When I did Star Trek: The Next Civilization, we kept getting held over, and I loved doing the same perform or same show over and over again because the audience was always new. Is that sort of the same for you? It's like it's a brand new audience, and they're going to react the way they want to react.
Absolutely. And in days when you're feeling down or you're feeling um, bored or feeling lethargic, you realize that these 2,000 people or these 3,000 people are excited, are waiting for a gift, and it's mine to give. And if I don't give it, how horrible and selfish and unprofessional.
Right.
So and even if you're feeling low or you're feeling you hear that applause. The genie makes his first entrance after the overture, and the audience goes mad. And you hear that over the monitor. You know, we are listening, or I'm waiting in the wings to make my entrance, and that's all. I mean, I have gooseflesh listening, thinking about it now, because they're so invested, they're so loving,
Yeah.
and that's infectious. And
Yeah.
so if you're having a bad day, that can change on a dime.
Nice. They've taken time out of their schedules. They saved up their
Yes,
money and so in
yeah,
case of some of them, so it's an awesome responsibility as well because you're like,
yeah.
well, we better entertain these damn people.
And I had a director, Karen Coonrod, a very dear friend and director who I've worked with many times doing non-musicals, a lot of Shakespeare and things. And she says rather morbidly, and that this is somebody's first show. These are kids or people. This is their first time seeing Shakespeare or first time in a theater. So you are responsible to ignite them, their imaginations, their hearts, their minds, and it may be somebody's last time in the theater.
Oh, yeah.
And you better give, I mean, yeah, and you better give them your all because it could be the last thing they ever see in a theater.
Wow.
When I was 14 years old, I was in an opera in Bombay where I grew up and I still live. We did The Barber of Seville with some La Scala soloists from Milan. And Indira Gandhi came for the show, who was our prime minister at the time.
Yes.
And there was massive security there. I remember they looked inside the double bases with wands, with metal detectors, and
Right.
they combed the building. And that was in October of I think 83 or 84. And she was assassinated 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later.
Whoa. So you
So
were
it
the
does
last
happen.
show.
We were the last. I was in the last cultural event that Indira Gandhi went to. It happens.
Wow.
I mean, I don't
Wow.
expect any of our audience to be assassinated.
Assassinated. I know. Wait a minute. I'm going to turn down my tickets now. I'm nervous. Now, Aladdin. One of the challenges. I mean, the Julie Taymor Lion King, like she did this very bizarre thing where she reinvented how to do this on stage. So I assume Aladdin had to do that to the directors or the conceivers of going, okay, we're
Sure.
taking an animated film with flying carpets and monkeys and stuff, and now we're putting it on stage. So can you give us some hints at some of the magic we're going to see? Um,
Yeah, we do have a flying carpet. We do have some magic tricks. Of course we do. How could you have Aladdin without some Disney magic? Our carpet is beautiful and the scene is beautiful. And actually, I just posted a picture of myself on Instagram. I had never seen that magic carpet flying from stage left. It's not a scene that I'm in, so I often go back to my dressing room or to my little hideaway and do my work. But for some reason, in the last city, I chose to stand in the wings and watch this, and I was mesmerized myself. And the prop person on stage left captured a picture of me looking out into the wings and looking out onto the stage like a child that's just mesmerized by
wow.
it was a beautiful photograph, and I was like, can I post this on Instagram?
Oh
So
yes.
yeah, it has some changes. It has we did not go the Julie Taymor route
Right.
We did not go with the puppets and the giraffes and the. I mean,
Right.
Lion King is nothing but
But animals,
animals.
they had to, yeah.
Correct. So
Yeah.
we had a few animals in it. We have in the movie we have Jasmine's tiger. We have Abu, the monkey
Monkey.
that Aladdin's. So these people, these characters were transformed into trios of people. So Aladdin has three buddies who are wonderful. Omar, Babkak, Omar, and Kasim. And they do a lot of song numbers with him. They do a lot of fight choreography with him.
Oh.
So he's got these buddies, and
So they
Jazz
sort of stand in for they stand in for the monkey.
they stand in for the monkey in a
Oh
way.
wow.
And Jasmine's tiger is she has three ladies in attendant, three attendants
Oh.
who do that. So we don't have any animals. We don't have any animals in the show.
Never had a friend like me.
No, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That's a neat workaround, and also it turns it into more song and dance, right? Because you
More
can
song and dance, more opportunity for song and dance. Absolutely.
so
Not
hard
that
to
you
get the
can't
tiger to
dance
do.
Yeah, it's hard to do it with tiger to do exactly. Exactly.
Tiger can't
And
do
so
a box
that
step.
sort of ties in with the with Casey's asking me to be a more real sultan, because he wanted to make this a more, I mean, as much as you can make a flying carpet mythical somewhere in the Middle East
Yeah.
story real, but he wanted to be a real story. I mean, these are real characters. This is an orphan boy who is searching for his, finding his feet and finding his reason for living and finding his way in, and it's a real problem. We all go through this in teenage years. And
Yeah.
so these are universal stories, universal problems, and very human problems, very human stories.
Well, all stories are about change, and we like stories because we like to be inspired, because we believe we can't change. So, or many do. So when we go to stories to see characters being changed, nice. What's your favorite moment? Do you have a favorite moment? Like you were backstage, watching the flying carpet the other day. But do you have a moment that is maybe one? Let's get two moments. One where it's I'm on stage and I'm doing this and I really dig this part. And also one time when you're off stage, but you hear it and you go, oh, this is a nice moment. I like this moment.
There are so many, and they change. They also change because we have different people going on, right? We have standbys, we have understudies, we have swings that jump in for. So there are there was a moment where the fortune teller who is in the ensemble, she plays an ensemble role, and that one line where she goes something, I think he's rather tasty. And one of the dressers backstage in the last city we were in loved that line. So whenever I passed by her, she'd always be singing, "Oh, I think he's rather tasty." Her infection for that line has sort of it's infected me with the joy of that line, for instance. And it changes with the times. For me, I just like being present in the moment and playing off. And one of the joys on tour is that you do get to play off different Jasmines or different Aladdins, because we do fall sick, we do get COVID, we do take vacations. So
Yeah.
other people come in and they're all phenomenal, and you're always playing. It's like playing ball with it's like playing tennis with a new partner.
Now, and you also must have, even though you're always playing big theaters, they are going to be like, I'm a big theater and I'm a big theater. And so you also have to change your staging somewhat, where it's like,
You
okay, my entrance has to be down here now because this stage is just a little more shallow.
Or we have no crossover at the back.
Mm,
So there are certain changes where we have to run between stage left and stage right, or stage right and stage left, which we can't do. So sometimes in certain shallow theaters where we have no crossover behind the set, we have to exit to the place we'll be re-entering from next, because there's
ah,
no time for me to go off stage right, go underground, go up. There's just no time. I have 25 seconds
all
or
right.
something like that. So I had, what would have been. So those little changes, or some theaters, It's so funny how people build theaters where they build these magnificent fronts of houses and opulent and baroque, and backstage is tiny and cramped and nothing. And we have a lot of set pieces. We've got, big
Yeah.
palanquins and things coming in, and sometimes we have to cut that. And but that's the adapt. We have to adapt to being on the road.
And do you ever like finish a scene and go, oh nope, this way today?
It has happened. It has happened. But I remember why, it happens because Jasmine and I, at the very end, before the finale, we exit stage right, and then we run around and we exit stage. We come up, both come of us have quick changes, and we come on stage left. And so I start the exit stage left, and I could see Jasmine going right, and I'm like, "Honey, here we are. We are coming this way." We're not in Cleveland. We're in Worcester. We're not in Ottawa where we could do that. We're now in Winnipeg, wherever.
Nice. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, you've been to Vancouver before, but this is your first show in Vancouver. So you know the city, but you don't necessarily know the stage. So
I don't know. I've heard all the Jubilee theaters are beautiful and big, and they should be, it's called the Queen
Elizabeth Theater. Yeah. It's got another little theater attached to it called the Vancouver Playhouse, which is a 680-seat theater, but there's very little nosebleed, so you won't have to worry between the two theaters. Now, I'm going to give you
some beautiful big centers. I mean, the center in Montreal is Place des Arts is huge and so filled with stuff, and the big theater in Ottawa, whose name I'm forgetting, but I mean, another beautiful big space, kind of like the South Bank would be in London, or one of these big multi theater spaces.
Now, you mostly do North America, though. I assume a more like, do you bump over the water at all, or do you like?
No, England will have its own tour. The UK will have its own UK tour, I think, next year. They were on, I think, they start a tour next year. There's productions of Aladdin in many places. There's Mexico City, there's Tokyo, there's Amsterdam. So all those Aladdins all over the place.
Nice. I digress for a moment, but I champion for representation and inclusion on stage, and I go, we would not be surprised if we went to Tokyo and saw the Glass Menagerie, and it would be an all Asian cast, because they're going to cast the show so that it reflects the audience, right?
Sure. I mean, and also practically, where are you going to find those many,
Caucasian actors?
Yeah, or if you're doing Aladdin, where are you going to find that many Middle Eastern or North African? They call MENA, Middle Eastern, North African, that diaspora of skin tones and of ethnicity. It's just going to.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, hey, you get a chance now, Saurabh, my friend. You are going to sell this show. What you're going to do is I'm going to count you in, and you're going to look at your little green light, and you're going to tell the people why they should not miss this production. If they're nervous, oh, there's changes. We fear change. And you're going to say, don't fear change. And you're going to go,
1 second.
Okay. Think of what you're going to say. And 3, 2, 1, action.
You should come and see our show, because it is 2.5 hours of pure joy and laughter and hope. And there will be lots of children there, but there are lots of adults who adore the show. So come on down, and in these difficult times, we can have 2.5 hours of just pure joy and enjoyment.
How wonderful. Well, I'm sold. I'll be there. So, Rob, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule. Do you have a show tonight?
Of course.
How wonderful. Well, you have a great, great show, and we'll see you in 1 month. And
pleasure talking to you.
Great. Thank you so much, sir.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.